What's up everyone and welcome to another Warframe video. The focus of today's video is the King of Defense. One frame no squad with an objective to look after can be without, and that is of course Frost Prime. There hasn't been any changes to him lately, not really. He's just got better and better over the years to the point where, well, despite other frames having had changes lately, I think he's worth pushing to the front and doing a video on. Frost is, I think, potentially one of the most slept on frames currently, and since we have 3 abilities we really need, we'll dive into those, and then I can show why I think people underestimate him and that he is not purely a frame for defense. First ability we want to focus on is Freeze, more specifically the augment for it. Casting it normally, the ability sends out a snowball, freezing enemies in their tracks. However, the augment allows us to hold to cast, and it will imbue ours and allies' weapons with frost damage for a period of time. Very solid damage buff here, and one we're definitely going to be leveraging. Then we have Snow Globe, not the most important ability here, surprisingly, but it will actually put up Frost Bubble. That will protect everything inside it from incoming fire, while expelling everything inside it into the nearby scenery. This can either be used in a pinch to defend an objective, or to protect Frost himself in an emergency. Avalanche might be a better option for that, but energy depending, this is still a legit option. It's a fantastic ability, but actually not the focus of the build. Final base ability we're using is Avalanche. Enemies in an area around Frost get frozen by his ability and then shattered, doing a pretty decent amount of damage, but also shattering their armor. And with the augment, builds up overguard based on your armor and the amount of enemies hit. This ability is essentially the glue that holds the entire build together. While you can trigger some of the build using other abilities, Avalanche can trigger literally everything. The helmet ability we're running here is going to be Nourish. This is going to allow us to get a lot more energy from all energy sources, as well as passively spreading viral procs everywhere from attacking and also being attacked. While the energy generation is amazing, the extra weapon damage from the viral doesn't exactly hurt either. It's also worth giving a quick shout out to his passive too, since it's actually very relevant. Frost gains armor for any enemy affected by cold within affinity range, and cold status effects will cause all ability durations to last 100% longer. This is actually a passive that is worth building around, since increasing your armor with the passive directly improves the overguard generation of Icy Avalanche. So how are we going to build Frost Prime to leverage the strength of all these abilities? Well, it might be one of the weirdest builds you're going to see. Lots of power strength from Blind Rage, Humble Intensify, Growing Power and Molt Augmented, Overextended for range, Equilibrium for our energy efficiency, Archon Flow, not just for the additional energy in the tank, but also to help sustain our energy economy slightly, with that 10% chance to drop an energy orb upon killing something with a cold ability. Something fantastic at lower level, not so useful at the higher, but every little helps. Then we're going to be running a triple augment. It's not the first time you've seen this from me, but it's definitely the first time in quite a while. Freeze Force is going to allow us to use the freeze to buff up ours and allies' weapons. Fighting Frost is going to boost our weapon crit chance and damage against frozen enemies, of which there are going to be many. And then Icy Avalanche, which is essentially our entire survivability, really racking up that overguard. We're also running Arcane Ice Storm, which is going to give a stacking buff to both power strength and power duration. This is one of the few frames that can take really good advantage of this. In fact, it feels a lot like it's specifically built for Frost. As for our Archon shards, we're going to throw 3 Amber shards on for cast speed, since we're spamming abilities like crazy, and Avalanche has a very long cast time. In the footage I don't have that on there, and you can see how much more painful it is to play when you don't have those Amber shards. And then we're going to combine that with a couple of red shards for even more power strength. So with the build all said and done, and we've looked at the abilities, what do I think of Frost Prime? I think he's one of the most misunderstood and underappreciated frames out there right now. Quite a few people think of him as nothing more than a bubble merchant, fit to simply throw bubbles on a defense objective, and even then, most people feel that he's second best to Limbo Prime for that. But honestly, played well, Frost Prime not only does the defensive job very well, but he can take the fight to the enemy, stripping their armor, killing effectively with his abilities and his weapons, being very tanky at the same time, giving overguard to your entire team. He's very simple to play. Keep the damage buff from freeze up, as well as nourish. Then we're using the ability that makes the whole build tick, which is Avalanche. That's going to, at low to mid level, kill everything around you, but at higher levels, strip armor, restore overguard, proc Archon Flow, proc Biting Frost, proc Arcane Ice Storm, and proc his passive. It's by far one of the most synergistic abilities out there, able to proc a ton of stuff and really keep the build ticking, all the while racking up the kills. It's really worth investing into Frost Prime. He's not just a snow globe jockey. Push him out there, get him into the middle of the fight. You might just be surprised at the outcome. I know that I was one of the people who underestimated him, and now in EDA or ETA, if there is a defensive objective, I will find it insanely difficult to bring, well, anybody else. So I hope you've enjoyed my look at Frost Prime. Let me know what you feel about him in the comments below, whether you've tried him offensively or only as a defensive frame. I love hearing from you in the comments. But for now, many thanks for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day.